Hey Beans! Today we're going to be talking about why non-members are treated so badly by members. And listen up, if you're a member and you're watching this, you are not part of the problem. The fact that you're actually watching this and addressing this issue is basically proof that you are not one of these people. Hopefully, unless you're just watching this to leave a mean comment about how non-members are actually not. Yeah, well, basically what I'm saying is this video is not really targeted at anyone watching it. I promise. If you're watching this, you are addressing the problem, and good for you. This video is meant to give you guys, who are really those good-hearted people who are there to stand up for those non-members or the non-members themselves, kind of some ammunition to go and stand up to those big member bullies. So let's get started. So now that we've addressed this conflict, let's begin with why members are so mean to non-members. Well, the first reason is really that a lot of the time, members aren't totally sure of their purchase. People feel really self-conscious about either spending money on a kid's game or just spending money on a game or online in general where there's no tangible reward, and a lot of adults or more mature people would consider it childish or silly or kind of immature. And so in order to feel better about their own purchase, they make fun of people who don't make that purchase because for some reason it makes them feel like their purchase was worth it, because by telling other people that they are worse for not owning the purchase, it's kind of like channeling the anger that they feel at themselves at other people for making this purchase. Also, a lot of players seem to feel like it's your duty to pay if you play Animal Jam. I mean, just looking at it from an outsider's perspective, it kind of makes sense. You're taking advantage of the game a little bit, and so therefore you should be giving back to the game, right? Well, that logic doesn't totally work. You see, it's not your decision how much Animal Jam charges for their game. In fact, it has no effect on you. Animal Jam is a business, and they are running it for their own best interests, and the way they set their prices is the way they think they can make the most money and produce the best updates and attract the most players and make you have the most fun. So don't step in and try and make up prices that Animal Jam should be making or saying that everyone should be a member. Just remember that these people are not in charge of the game, and it's Animal Jam's decision how much a player has to pay based on how often they play the game or how much of the game they want to use. Because after all, if you want to play 2 animals and then have one den, go ahead, you can play for free. That is not your choice to say that that is cheating Animal Jam. That is Animal Jam's choice, and after all, if they're getting cheated, then they can just change it. So in reality, Animal Jam chose to make things this way. Don't put words in Animal Jam's mouth. They love their non-members, or else they wouldn't have their non-members. Number 3 is more of a general thing that kind of applies to all of life, but people really like to feel like they're the best. They just want to have this sort of self-fulfillment. And for some reason, when you can't really get it normally, people look to get it by making fun of other people or putting other people down to make themselves feel better. You've probably heard about this before, but it's the reason that bullies exist. I mean, a lot of the times, the bullies go after the really smart kids because they're not that smart. And so in order to make up for the fact that they're not smart, they make other people feel like they're not cool for being smart, and therefore make themselves feel better about not being smart by convincing themselves that being smart is not important and that being smart is lame and that they wouldn't be cool if they were smart and that they're way cooler by being dumb. And the same philosophy applies on Animal Jam. People who have membership want to feel really good about their membership and be like, yeah, I'm paying money, I want to get as much out of this as possible, but they don't really get that satisfaction always out of just playing the game or enjoying the membership benefits. Sometimes they feel like they have to get it by making fun of non-members and telling them that they are worse than them in order to make themselves feel like their membership makes them cooler. And this is where the really big problem behind all this comes from. This is the number 1 reason I believe why members are so mean to non-members, and that is because they don't want to just make themselves feel good. They want their friends to think they're cool. And making fun of non-members is cool nowadays. People seem to think that if you put down non-members, well, you all of a sudden become cooler because you're cooler than other people, right? And unfortunately, a lot of people, because Animal Jam is a kid's game, really think this is cool. But that's not to say that this doesn't happen on other platforms. There are plenty of other platforms, including adult and teenage games, and plenty of things around the world where people look down on people who don't offer money to the company that's providing them a service. They feel like they're taking advantage of everything. And so people get really mad at these people who don't contribute money back to the services they use, and that is one of the reasons people get so mad at non-members. But let's say you're just doing it to impress your friends. Why non-members? Why don't people make fun of Arctic wolves that have spikes and headdresses, or role players, or people who have really lame dens or something? Why don't they make fun of any of those people? Well, the answer is non-members are a really easy target. Generally, not to stereotype, they are younger people. They're newer to the game. A lot of the time, the members are people that have played for a long time and have enough money to start financing their own membership, whether it's through having a little bit of a job, an allowance, some sort of payment they get for doing chores every week. But a lot of the time, the members are older and the non-members are younger. It's just like an easy way to pick out the weaklings from the crowd. That's not always true, but it's just a stereotype that people seem to go by, and the username is always right there. No matter where you go, you can see who the members are and who the non-members are. So therefore, Animal Jam basically makes you a really easy target for bullying as soon as they stick that non-member name tag on you. And that is honestly one of the biggest reasons that people get membership. That name tag isn't just there so that you can decorate it. That name tag has more value than just what it looks like, because in reality, a lot of people get that name tag because they don't want to get made fun of for being a non-member. That's a real reason why people get membership. I've heard plenty of cases of this happening. People feel like if I have this blue name tag, automatically members pick me out as this young noob who doesn't really know anything, who they can make fun of to impress their friends or to make themselves feel better about their own membership. All of these reasons that I've talked about is all because the non-member name tag is really obvious. You can tell exactly who the non-members are. And this is a really sad fact about the state of the Animal Jam community, but unfortunately a lot of people just do it because non-members typically aren't as rare. As I said earlier, usually once you play the game for a while, and if you're really into it enough to become super rare, you're going to pay for membership. So therefore, members are almost always rarer than non-members. Not to mention, members can buy items and invest in more items and get more rare item Mondays, and then like wear certain items to show off their looks and get traded more. And then there's also this circle of people trade members and check their trade list more because they assume the members are rare, so therefore members become more rare, but non-members don't get traded. Basically, all of these reasons contribute to members are usually rarer. And so, people like rares on Animal Jam. It's no secret, people really like rares. In fact, they will throw away friendships or fake friendships just to get these items. And since there's a stereotype that non-members aren't as rare, well, people aren't going to fake these friendships or like fake compliment people or try and befriend them or be super nice. They just assume you are of no value to me. I can just make fun of you and treat you however I want. You're just an annoying little kid. And they make these stereotypes that are just ridiculous. In fact, most of the rarest people in the entire game are non-members. That is mostly because they've quit. But I just want to remind you that just because you come across a non-member who doesn't have rares on their trade list does not mean that they're not rare or that they're not worth your time or that they're not a great friend. Yeah, they may not have free chat, but that doesn't mean they're not interesting to talk with. And yeah, they may not have a bunch of rares on their trade list and they can't wear the items. That doesn't mean they don't have rares that you might want. So no, I'm not saying that you should befriend non-members just because they might have rares. But I'm saying that you shouldn't assume things about someone and then immediately be mean to them for it. Like, don't make fun of a non-member for not having rares or being a noob when you literally know nothing about them except what their username looks like. And again, people just love the rares so much that they don't really care what's actually behind that name tag. All they care about is that they can see it, and it's an easy target, and they think there are no repercussions because no one really stands up for non-members. There's this whole sort of conception that members have that, non-members are all evil and gross, and we can just make fun of them all we want and make ourselves cooler, and it doesn't really matter what non-members think of us because we won't let them in our friend group or trade with them anyways. So there becomes this ever-growing divide between members and non-members as, members continue to make fun of non-members, and non-members begin to feel like, man, all members are so mean, so non-members start to hang out with non-members, and members start to hang out with members, and then, again, the divide grows until we basically have this place where even once you get membership, people still look at you as that person who used to be a non-member for a long time, and that's kind of where we are now. But the final reason why I think that people make fun of non-members is simply out of boredom. Some people just really get bored on Animal Jam, and they just like to go troll kids or mess with kids or make fun of kids or be mean to kids. It's the reason that you see so many views on so many videos with controversial topics. People just love to go and leave dislikes or leave hate comments or get angry about stuff. People just love that kind of stuff, and I don't know why. I don't understand it, but people love angering themselves. And one of the best ways to do that is to go make fun of non-members, which will always end up in you getting angry because there is no rational reason for it, and they will have great arguments in return to yours. If you say oh, you must be a noob, they'll be like, actually, I played this game for 4 or 5 years, and you're like, oh shit, I only played for 3. So the only response, mostly among kids, is you get really upset with this non-member, and you're like, oh, you know what, you're the worst, I hate you, and again, this divide grows. What started out as your funny little making fun of non-members to show off your friends becomes actual hatred because you realize that you're not justified in your hatred. So this boredom grows into actual despising of non-members and just destroying all the non-members, and I hate them, and my member friends are the coolest, and again, this divide grows. But again, I know none of you are these types of people. I know all of you are very kind to your non-member buddies or your member buddies, and you don't make generalizations. Now, I would like to remind you all that not all members are bad people. I will definitely agree that the stereotype that members are meaner is more true than the stereotype that non-members are noobs. There are a lot of members out there who relentlessly make fun of non-members, no matter what the non-member is truly like behind their name tag and bunny with a tiara and necklace. They're getting made fun of. It's just the sad reality of things. But I know that a lot of people that are watching this video are the non-members who are really truly looking for an explanation about why these random people they've never even met are being so rude to them. So there you go. My best advice for those of you who are members and who aren't mean to non-members, well, if you are, then please stop doing that. That's your first step. And also maybe some non-members too. Well, anyways, I got sidetracked. My advice is basically step up, stand up for somebody, and people around you will do it too. The reason that this continues to go on is because everyone is afraid to speak up, because no one wants to stand up to that big scary Arctic wolf with the headdress who's making fun of the poor little non-member. No one wants to stand up to the big bully, but it's your responsibility, and as soon as you do it, people will join you. Nobody likes the bully, they're just afraid to say anything. So anyways, Beans, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a little something, and I hope maybe you're a little kinder around Animal Jam, because our community is so amazing, and everyone in the Animal Jam community deserves a little bit of kindness. So anyways, I'll see you on my next video. Bye.